Hello and welcome to Back in America Live, a podcast looking at American culture, values, and identity. With me today, Majid Padellan, known on Twitter as Brooklyn Dad Defiant, to talk about the election. Hello, Majid. How are you?
I am excellent, Stan. Thank you for having me back on your show.
Well, thank you for making time. It's a last minute thing, but I'm doing a series of interviews where I speak with people about how they feel about this election. You've been so committed to the Biden Harris ticket. I really wanted to hear how you felt.
Uh, well, first, let me just tell you the news, the initial news that it looked like Biden was going to win was cautiously optimistic. I'm talking about Tuesday, November 3rd. And this was a very unusual election because we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the results to be announced. And a lot of us were growing impatient with the slow pace and the steady breaking news. Joe Biden has just added 300 votes to his total. And we were like, come on, guys, come on, just call it. Just call the race. So on Saturday, when the news finally broke, and I was actually watching CNN, I was watching Wolf Blitzer at the time, and he said, we are announcing that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. I let out a scream. I was elated. I ran around the house. I told my son and my daughter and my wife. And then I jumped on. I have a live show I do every day. It's called Story Time with BDD. And I usually only do it Monday through Friday, but this was a special occasion. So I jumped on a streaming, and I told all of my followers, like, this is it. This is happening. And wow, it was amazing because, yeah, I have literally been fighting for this for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
And
Well, but let's go back to Biden and Harris. They have, you are a black man, right?
yes,
And they do have a difficult past to reconcile when it comes to race. Harris as being top cop, Biden with the Anita Hill trial and other comments he's made about Obama. How does that make you feel?
it doesn't bother me at all. There's a saying that says, "Don't let perfect be the enemy of good." And there's no such thing as a perfect candidate. There is none. Even President Obama had his shortcomings, and we adored him. Um, Joe Biden, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Joe Biden was not my first or second or even third choice, but it turned out that he was the man for this moment.
Hmm.
That after the trauma, and it literally was trauma that a large majority of the nation experienced over the past 4 years. I mean, you have a guy who is lying to you on a daily basis. If I were to tell you, Stan, if you and I were like buddies hanging out, or co-workers or whatever, and every day I told you a lie that was an obvious, disprovable lie, you would start to resent me. And then eventually be like, you know what, Majid, just don't. Please, just don't. But we had no choice. Like, this is a guy who was in our living rooms on a daily basis and was telling obnoxious and in some instances dangerous lies, And for instance, this year, at the beginning of this year, he found out that COVID-19 was not only deadly, but also airborne, but also affects children too. And he decided to downplay it. I always wanted to downplay it,
You do it well. Well, and that make me ask you the question: why, after 4 years of Trump, did so many people still vote for him?
It's heartbreaking. Stan, I literally just like 10 minutes ago finished tweeting like, there is no return to normalcy until we as a nation can repudiate Trumpism.
Mhm.
Trumpism. And what is Trumpism? It's a cult. Trumpism is a cult. It's based on his personality and not what he stands for, because what he stands for is nothing but himself. He's selfish, and he just wants to make money, and he doesn't care how he does it. And he's vindictive, and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff.
We
I
know
feel
that.
like
Yeah.
I feel like a large majority of the people who did vote for him, they didn't vote for him because they thought he was the best guy. They voted for him because they like how he owns the libs, right?
Mhm.
How he makes us mad with his indecency and locking children in cages and his cruelty, all that stuff. They're like, yeah, burn it all down. Some of them really just want to burn it all down. And I understand that there is a psychology behind it where these people feel as though they've been laughed at their whole lives and that they've been left behind and ignored. And I get that, but the answer to that is not to burn it all down.
Well, Majid, two things regarding the burn down. I was speaking with some Republicans who
Mm.
are totally convinced that if there is riots, it will be because of the Democrats. They say, look, he's been the president, he's been announced, loser for the last week, and nothing has happened. Now, if for some reason he were to be elected, that's when the riot will start because of the Democrats.
Uh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We're not looking to riot. There's a small portion of people, a small percentage of the protest crowd. We call them, or everybody calls them, Antifa. And Antifa is just short, abbreviated term for anti-fascist, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And these Antifa have shown themselves to, they wear military gear, helmets. You can never identify who they are. And half the time, I'm pretty sure that they are just people that Republicans have dressed up and as our boogeyman. Look how bad they are. Look, they're violent, etc. The majority of us, we get out there with our signs and our chants,
Mhm.
like the Million Woman March in 2016. Nobody got hurt or killed. There was just a bunch of people just angry. Yeah,
Mhm.
and giving our bodies. We wholeheartedly believe that peaceful protest is the only way to protest. We do. So
Mhm.
riots, no, we're not looking for riots. We're not looking for bloodshed. We're not looking for destruction. And our president-elect, Joe Biden, has stated this numerous times over and over and over. So yeah, that's just a narrative that the right wants to sell. That's not what's happening. I
So,
can tell
Majid,
you that. Yeah.
Majid Padellan, you've been on Twitter for a while now. How many followers have you got today?
748,000, I think.
Right. So you did make a dent in this campaign, I'm sure. What do you think will be Biden's and Harris fights and challenges in the coming 4 years?
Well, our next challenge is electing Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff to the Senate. They're both in runoff elections in Georgia, and the election is happening January 5th. And I am heavily involved in it right now, and I'm going to be heavily involved in promoting these guys and making sure people get registered. For instance, if someone turns 18 before December 7th, then they are eligible to register to vote in that election. So we are promoting that as often as possible, and we're trying to get people motivated to vote, because the biggest challenge for President Biden and Vice President Harris is going to be the Senate. Right now, Mitch McConnell is the majority leader. He's in charge of the Senate. And we've already seen what happens, what gets accomplished with him in the lead, and nothing gets accomplished. The House, the Democratic-led House, has produced 400 bills, passed 400 bills that have been sitting on McConnell's desk. So we can't go through another 4 years of that. So we have to, it is imperative that we elect these two guys so that it brings our count up to 50, and then Vice President Harris ends up being the tiebreaker.
All right. Thank you. So I know what we are going to see you doing on Twitter for the next foreseeable future.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Majid. It was a short interview. It's part of a series on the post-election.
Yeah. I wanted to say one other thing.
Sure.
Right? This is kind of irrelevant, but it's very relevant to me. As of last night, Joe Biden hit 77 million popular votes. Now, in my book, The Littlest President, I have predicted, in fact, give me a second here. Let me just, oh no, I don't have the book with me, but I predicted 79 point something million total votes for Joe Biden. So if that number hits 79 point something, I'm going to be famous.
Like a visionary. Majid, thank you so much. Once again, everybody, this is Back in America. It's a podcast, and we are going to edit those short interviews into an episode, which will be released in the coming days. So thank you, everyone. And we've got Jamie, Wisconsin, saying that you're Nostradamus.
Oh, that's Nostradamus is my nickname.
Nostradamus.
Yes. Right now? Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy is one of my viewers from Storytime with BDD.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Majid. See you.
Thank you, Stan. Bye-bye.